Welcome back, everybody. This is Tip It Out. We got a brand new segment here. This is going to be pretty cool. Mac Belvich is going to run me through a couple holes that he played, and we're going to call it In the Hot Seat. In the Hot Seat, we're going to pull up a couple holes that we played, try to analyze kind of some course management, put into practice some of the things that we've been talking about on the podcast, a nice overarching explanation and analysis of a couple holes that we play here. Hopefully this will be a really cool segment. I really hope you guys enjoy. If you have any criticisms of your own, feel free to add them below. We'll be listening, and maybe we can bring those to our next podcast as well. So let's get it going.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So I played 3 holes at TPC Michigan. Played 14, 15, and 16. I'd argue one of the hardest stretches on the course.
Agreed.
And a little backstory here. So started on 10, just kind of ran out, didn't expect to play. Started filming, played on 10. There's a group right behind me on the tee, so I didn't film that hole. Made par. Started filming on 13, first time ever. So content was not good. So we're starting here on hole 14. So I went par, birdie on 13. We're gonna start here on 14. So I'm technically one under. For the sake of the video, I'm gonna be even. So here we go. Hole 14. It's 460 yards, par 4. As you can see, course map off to our side on the left. The landing area is about 280 yards. Just short of that yellow circle is a kind of a knob. So if you're short of it, it'll eat the golf ball. If you're long, it'll throw it out a few extra yards. And right at the top of that circle, where the fairway tightens, I mean, it's about 5 to 10 yards wide. It is a tiny landing area. So anything longer than that, it was playing a little bit downwind, but I was hitting driver well. So there's no need to kind of lay up and worry about the left side. So my target is that those small pine trees out there, right down the middle, are.
Right, I see you're kind of going right of that building too, aren't you? You want to play
correct?
Up that,
yes, yeah.
Up that right side.
Yeah, so those pine trees you can kind of see off to the side, to the top right of the yellow circle on the course map.
Yeah,
that's kind of a good line. If you do end up going right, you're gonna have an awkward lie, but you're gonna be safe. And you can kind of run one up on the side.
Okay.
So well, let's see the first shot.
What a rip. Looks like you got to be pretty accurate off this tee here.
You do.
If water on the left, is it? I mean, you're not safe if you go over the cart path on the right? So you got to be fairly straight here.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, and he pipes it.
Absolutely piped.
Kind of right in my circle. You can see where I put it down there.
Literally directly in the middle of the circle.
Yeah, so pin's kind of in that back left area. It's 156 on line to carry and 193 long. So, in my head, I'm thinking 180 pin, a little down, a little off the left with the wind. And you can't really tell in the video, but here the ball is slightly below my feet.
Looks like it.
So I'm looking to hit a little bit of a fade, and that way I can kind of play off the bunker. I don't have to worry about it too much.
I like that.
Yeah, and then I was thinking, 180, 7 iron is about a 173 club with a little bit of downwind. I can get it up there, but 6 iron, I was a little worried if I catch it pure, it could go over the back, or it could be in that bunker or on that downhill lie to the right of the green, which is also kind of long. So I'm thinking just a full 7 iron, nothing crazy.
I like it.
Kind of take it at the pin, and if it goes left, it goes a little left. We'll be fine.
So really quick, your alignment here kind of looks like you're aiming at the pin. Maybe were you thinking about compensating a little bit with your swing and kind of pulling a little bit, I guess, to the right, which is weird because you're a lefty golfer, but pull a little bit to the right and then kind of bring it back at the pin.
No, there was
in order to take it over the bunker.
If you can kind of see in the video, it's a little off, like the pin. Like there's more room to the left of the pin on the green than the right. So like I could have gone kind of at the right side of the green and faded it that way. But then you kind of bring into that, like if you do pull it a little bit with the wind slightly off the left, you kind of bring that rough into play.
Yeah, and you're dead if you go too far right too. So
and it's a tough up and down.
High flop shot. Yeah, tough up and down from over there. So
and it's downhill lie, and then the green kind of rolls away from you. So Being left of the pin also is nice because you're gonna probably have an uphill putt. And the only other good spot is short right. But that's you got to take on a little bit more risk there.
Right. So even though all the trouble seems to be on the left, it's actually better to kind of err on the left side here.
Yeah, it's visually it's a visually tricky shot. Let's see how it goes.
Oh, dead straight.
Oh yeah. And it kind of faded faded off to the left a little bit, but
yeah.
Overall, pretty good execution.
Seemed to end up pretty nice, about 30 feet here. Hopefully you read it right.
Let's see if we can convert about 30 feet.
Oh, it's looking good.
Just didn't break at the end there.
Yeah.
Almost converted. Can't be mad about this. This is the number one handicap hole.
I mean, to tap in par here on 14 that's a great score.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so now we're over here, next hole 15. I mean, my thought, so you can kind of see that bunker is pretty short of the green, but it looks pin high in picture.
Yeah, a little deceiving.
And so what I'm looking for is something. It's basically the same number, and I came up a little bit short. I played at 179 in the last hole, came up a little bit short, so I'm like 175, perfect number for another 7-iron, just like last.
Right.
I wanted to take it kind of where that hill meets the fairway on the left. So at the right side of the green, or not on the left, on the right. So I kind of want to take it at the right side of the green, maybe kind of hit a little fade.
Oh, yeah, really?
So I'm thinking if I do it, that gives me the biggest circle. So you can kind of see that white circle in the course map. That's kind of like my target landing area, like we talked about in the ranking series. That's kind of where I want to put the ball.
So that I feel like that's pretty interesting, only because when I see this hole, I think it sets up more for kind of taking it over the fat of the fairway, giving yourself a little bit of a landing zone for the ball to kind of roll up onto the green. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and so that side, that part to the right of the green, pin high, is like a collection area. So that hill comes down off the bunker towards the green, and then the green kind of comes down towards the fairway.
So as long as you get over that bunker, you're in that little zone.
Yeah, and I mean that's like 15. That's 10, 15 yards short of the green, so it's nothing to really worry about too much.
I see.
Knock on wood, but I can't say I've ever been in that bunker.
Yeah, I don't know if you will be anytime soon either. I mean, 170.
And yeah, to your point, like a back pin when it's playing close to 200 yards, I like to play
take
like
it the other way.
I do. I hit like a trap draw 4-iron, and like land it in the middle of the green and just run it to the back.
Yeah, the hole definitely sets up for that. Like if you just look at this top-down view, you're like, okay, I want to take this over the fairway, give myself a nice little landing zone where the ball might even be able to bounce up onto the green if I land a little bit short. But that's where a little bit of course knowledge helps, where you know that the right side of this green is fine. And if you play it up there onto the right side, you have a pretty easy up and down, which I think is good course management as well, because even if you go a little bit long of this pin, you still have some green there that's kind of waiting for you.
Absolutely.
Green / fairway, that little collection zone right there. So
yeah, and then to that point, that the edge, the front of that bunker on the left is like 179. I couldn't get there,
says, yeah.
And I forgot to mention, but the pins in this hole is in the same direction as hole 14, so it's still a little down off the left. So I'm thinking, if I step in one, maybe I'll catch that bunker. And it'll be a tough up and down, but I really have to peer one. And at this early in the season, I don't, it's hard to expect that. So I'm thinking that bunker is really, by taking 7-iron, that bunker is really not in play.
Yeah. So you kind of have full coverage around pin high. Obviously, you're trying to focus on that white zone, but that left or right is both pretty okay, just based on the club choice you've taken.
Exactly, yeah. And obviously it's better to be right than left. The left is probably a little bit harder of an up and down, but still totally manageable.
Yeah. Okay.
But so yeah, like a little fade off the right side of the green. I mean, off first glance too, now that I'm looking at it, I'm definitely set up a little closed. And that might be partly kind of just my natural setup,
Mhm.
or this is
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it might be, this is our first little exposure with having the camera out, so it might be a little bit wonky from that, but
too. Yeah, so I pushed a little bit. I trapped my swing. I got my hands trapped a little bit, and
mhm.
ended up going a little bit left, as you can see here.
Okay. Dodge
So
the
this is
bunker though, that's good.
this is a great shot to talk about.
Mhm. You
The
really got nothing to work with here, Mac.
No, so
You
about literally
don't have
literally
anything.
5 feet past the pin,
Yeah.
it
You can
you can
tell it slopes.
it's
Yeah.
sloping hard away. So like if I go more than 5 feet past this pin, it's off the green.
Mhm.
Um, so then that kind of leaves me. So right now, before knowing that, there's about two options in my head here. I can kind of take it low and kind of bump one into the rough and have it trickle out onto the green. Um,
Mhm.
or I can kind of take one a little bit higher, open the face, try and get under it, and it's in that
Mhm.
first cut of rough. So it's kind of got a nice lie to it. You can get
Right.
under it easy. Um, so I went with the high shot here. Um,
I feel like that's really your best bet, to be totally honest. I mean, going low is just as low of a percentage shot as going high, I feel like.
yeah,
And
and
going high gives you a go
if I
ahead.
was if I was bumping it, like if I had more fairway between me and the pin, like if I knew my
Mhm.
landing zone was fairway instead of rough, it would have been low all day.
Right. Mhm.
Because that's a little bit more predictable of a bounce out of the fairway. Um,
Yeah.
but because
You
of
gotta do
that,
what you gotta do with what you have, so
exactly. So I figured, I felt pretty confident with the flop shot, not necessarily a flop shot, but just kind of a high soft one,
right.
landing it like a yard or two onto the green at least. That's what I
Mhm.
always tell myself in my head when I'm hitting these shots where you got to land it just on the green is you got to get it there at least. Um,
Yeah.
if you go long, you go long. That's okay. Um, as long as you leave yourself a putt.
I agree. Yeah, 100%. Just get it to the pin.
Yeah,
Uh,
just
you
just
know.
give yourself a putt, and I mean that's what I've been preaching. I guess
Yeah.
I should have. We'll see how it goes. Yeah,
Oh, I
there it
was
is.
wrong.
Chili dipped it. Just didn't give it enough.
Nice.
So
That's the danger. You got to accept that danger. If you choose to go high on the shot before, you kind of accept the danger of there's a very high probability that I'm going to go right underneath this. But what I love about that shot is I feel like the alternative isn't too bad, right? If you go low and you lead and you go long of the green, right? And you roll it all the way down that slope, whatever's beyond this, kind of out of the shot, your recovery shot might not be as good. Like you kind of left yourself in a good spot right here to hit a second chip. So you've already done this once, you can kind of do it again. So I mean, granted, nobody wants to go run underneath the ball, but what I'm saying is you still didn't leave yourself in a bad spot. And I think that was a part of the original planning in like that the choosing of that shot.
yeah, so 16th hole, par four, about 408 yards. I think on the card it says 380, um, or something like that. But basically,
Mhm.
I'm taking, my target. All you can see are those bunkers on the right. Those bunkers on the left at like 200 yards are
Mhm.
cut out basically everything. And no matter how many times I play this hole, I find it so hard to trust that there's more fairway than there is to the left.
Yeah, I could
I
I
don't know
could
what it
see that.
is.
I mean, I could see that being a challenge. Well, you're getting blocked out by two bunkers. That doesn't help. But you know, on top of on top of that, it's just a scary looking hole, to be totally honest. Tight, a lot of danger in your field of vision. You know, um, I don't blame you for stepping up here and not trusting the fact that there's not much there on the left.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll aim, just take it over those bunkers on the right and just swing away, and it'll probably go left.
Mhm. Right. That's kind of you eliminating half the course a little bit, right?
Exactly.
You want to play it down this right side because you know you're going to hit it left. So our initial line is on a perfect. Honestly, it's a great line in order to compensate for both shots, but you're more confident in it going left. So of course, take it a little bit
Yeah,
farther
it
down the
it
right
brings the
side.
right. If I do double cross and hook one, could be bad. There's that cart path on the right. is up on a big
Mhm.
hill. So anything on the right of that cart path will probably go in the water on hole 14 that you had to
Oh, I
cover on the
see.
second shot. So basically my thought process here is take it at the bunkers and swing hard.
Yeah. Okay.
Nothing too much to that.
Hmm.
If it was
I
if
see.
it's a little back into the wind, if it was downwind, I usually like to hit 3-wood. Um,
Okay.
if it's playing a little firm, the ball's rolling, those bunkers long on the left, that little cluster of 3 on the left are
Hmm.
could be in play. But
I was about to say 280. I mean, those are probably what, 300, 310. So definitely
yeah,
doable with the wind behind you.
but it went left.
Good swing. Yeah, good swing too.
It was kind of like the tee shot on 15. I kind of trapped my hands a little bit and didn't get my hips to.
Yeah.
But all in all, I planned for it and
Hmm.
stayed in play at least. So that's a small victory.
Hmm.
We may have lost the battle, but we're going to win the war.
Hmm.
Um,
A little bit farther left than you had anticipated, it looks like.
yeah, so I'm up on these little moguls, balls,
Mhm.
pretty high above my feet. Um, but that kind of helps in my favor because I gotta looking at the shape of this green, it kind of calls for it, like shape of the green and where the pin is. It's really calling for a draw. So I'm looking at it, 131 to carry the bunker on line with the pin, and about 153 to 155 to the back of the green. And that's 155 is like a max 9-iron for me if I really catch
Mhm.
one. And that little 140 number, there's like you can kind of see it maybe a little bit. The green in the middle has like this kind of
A little
ridge,
ridge there.
little
Hmm.
2-foot ridge that the back is like this little like half pipe and then goes down the ridge to the rest of the green. And so I'm looking here, I'm like, I'm gonna try and play a draw with the slope. It'll help me hit the draw. So I have a lot of confidence that the ball's gonna draw. So I'm taking it at the left side of the green, drawing it back towards the pin. I mean, if I
Hmm.
overdraw it, it's not gonna be the end of the world. Um,
Hmm.
and I just like had this feeling on this shot that the ball's gonna go left.
Right. Yeah, I mean, lie. Everything about this hole is saying, hit this one high up in the air, let it land soft in the middle of the green and roll out just to the pin. What I'm really curious about is what was going through your head on the club choice here. This is kind of a tough one in order to assume the club choice, right? Because if you do end up executing that high, high draw for you, it's going to add a little bit of yardage and it might fly a little over the green. So what were you thinking about? Like,
Yeah, so I was looking at a 9-iron, or
mhm,
it was kind of my initial choice, and I figured 144 to the pin, and really my goal was to get it at least 140. So
mhm.
I'm like, this should be a pretty good nine
Right,
iron.
yeah.
With the lie, the ball was, the rough's not fully grown in yet, so it's not too much of a factor, but might take off a little spin. It really wasn't too much of a factor when I was looking at it. I may have wanted to claw up to an 8-iron because I did have to choke down pretty far on that 9-iron to get,
Mhm,
to match the slope. But ultimately, I just kind of was stuck with like a full 9-iron. A little wind in the face, but like, the way I thought it was just a full 8-iron could bring the over the back into play. And, obviously,
mhm.
probably not the best spot to be. I'd rather be short and putting.
So what about the pitching wedge, though? Did at any point you thought about kinda jumping on a pitching wedge?
No, the pitching wedge is like 136 max. And
Max,
so,
really? Okay, but even
yeah.
with okay, maybe the wind is a little factor for that. I would have considered the 136, though. Maybe that makes me a worse golfer
Well,
now.
well, yeah. So, especially when I have,
It just looks really jumpy to me, you know? It just looks like it's gonna fly.
oh, the ball
Yeah,
in the
for
rough.
sure.
No, no,
Mhm.
it was not. It was definitely not a flyer lie.
Okay, okay, gotcha.
Um,
Well,
but
light
especially,
not only for that, but also just because of the shot shape, like,
oh yeah,
whenever I hit
no,
that shot shape, it adds 10 yards at least.
yeah, yeah. So for me, it doesn't really add too many yards.
Okay. Mhm.
And
I might be a little bit
especially
different. My
like,
clubs are kinda old, so
but especially with that with the ball above my feet that much too. I especially like to club up a little bit more. Because you're choking down, and two, it helps you not swing as hard, and because the key to these shots is matching your body with the slope, um,
mhm.
and also staying balanced.
Yeah, I like that analysis. That makes sense too with the shot you got at hand. Oh, it looks good. I
Kind of glad
would
it
have
didn't hit the
expected
8
that to
iron.
draw more. Yeah, what a good shot,
All
15
right.
feet.
Let's see. Let's see if we can
Come on, we
close
gotta we
out.
gotta end it
Maybe.
on bang.
No comment.
Oh, that's still so ridiculous.
Yeah.
Every time I see it, it's gonna shock me every time.
The
All right.
lips never get easier to digest.
Good plan though, Mac. I like your
I
swing right
appreciate
now.
it.
Why don't you give us a little either summary of how you were feeling about the round or some criticism, what you want to work on going forward, maybe. Kind of wrap it all up here, and then
Yeah, so
hopefully
a
sayonara.
little summary. So I ended up playing 17 and 18, birdied
Okay.
17 and part 18, 17 par 5 and 18 tough par 4. Played well overall,
Mhm.
I would say. I The only hiccup was really that chip on 15, but it was I just pushed it. I should have,
Mhm.
I think ultimately I think it was maybe a little bit of alignment on the tee shot which hurt me and ended up pushing it and trapped myself.
Right.
The only thing I would say is maybe it might be worth looking into maybe hitting a draw 15 tee even to that front pin.
I
Looking
think
at
so.
drawing one, taking one at the pin and drawing it so that
Mhm.
it brings that right side more into play.
Mhm. All right. Awesome. Well, hopefully you enjoyed your time in the hot seat. You will be back very soon.
Always,
Uh,
I'm glad. I'll be happy to be back. Just
yeah.
looking to get better.
Yeah. Um, let us know, guys, in the comments if you like this section. We'll do more of these. Um, got a lot of really cool ideas. So we'll see you in the next one.
Like, comment, subscribe. Cheers.